Good afternoon. It's Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and that means it's Fast Facts and Features with me, the brand ambassador for Ethical Flooring Ltd. And I am so excited because we're starting a new topic this month. And it's, we figured because we're celebrating, we're seeing so much green out there with Christmas trees and all the rest of that good stuff, celebrating this season, we would talk about Green Products 101. And I've been hearing a lot, Kevin, lately about companies greenwashing, saying that their products are green, but when you kind of dial back as what you do as a business owner and dig into the manufacturer and dig into the specs, and there's a lot of products out there that are not truly a green product. So today, it's about cork. So, I mean, it's something that I remember when I was a project manager. I think I did 2 or 3 jobs in Cork Flooring, always so beautiful. So first of all, let's educate everybody how cork is taken and harvested and why is it a green product?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, cork is a mainstay in the flooring industry. It's one of those niche products that doesn't get a lot of attention. But people, I always say, people that have had it love it, and they'll come back and buy it again, whether they move or they're adding on new areas. So yeah, it's one of those products that once people own it and live on it, they absolutely love it. So how is it harvested? Yeah, it's the cork from a tree, typically harvested in Portugal or Spain. That's where almost all of the cork comes from. So the tree is stripped of its bark, and that is the cork portion, and that's processed and turned into obviously wine stoppers, bulletin boards, and all sorts of other consumer products. But obviously in our case, we're interested in floors. So they then take that and you can work it into various different patterns, do different things with it. But at the end of the day, we have a floor. So the neat part of it is that when you strip the bark off of the cork tree, it actually doesn't damage or hurt the tree in any way whatsoever. So it operates on a 9-year harvest cycle.
Wow.
So every 9 years, the bark will fully regrow. It can be stripped off again, turned into various materials, and the tree will live its entire expected lifespan from that process. And actually learned it actually makes the trees more or less prone to fire damage, forest fires, and that kind of thing, which is apparently fairly common in the area where the cork trees grow. So yeah, it's really a win-win all around. We get a product that's self-renewing every 9 years, and we can turn it into all sorts of in different goods, and including floors.
That's fascinating that it's really only grown in that one area, or is it because of the type of cork that it grows well, or is a cork tree a cork tree?
That I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, you don't really hear of it being grown anywhere outside of that Mediterranean region. So it must be indigenous to there, would be my guess. And obviously that climate is suitable for it. I mean, I guess just like we grow fir trees here like crazy because of the climate, and they're just indigenous to here. I guess it's the same with cork. So as far as I've always known, Portugal cork is obviously the most common cork out there, and actually I don't know if I've heard of one coming from anywhere else, so I'd say that's pretty much it in the world.
Well, I want to show a little my show and tell before you get into your show and tell. This is my cork wallet.
Oh, wow.
And what I find is it was very dirty, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's I've ruined my wallet. But this cleans up really easily, a little light soap and water, and it just cleans up and looks like new. So this is one of the products that gets created at cork. We're going to talk about now being made into cork flooring. What is the methodology? And let's see, I know you've got your show and tell piece on what has to happen in order to make it into flooring.
Yeah, and that's undergone a bit of a changeover since, the duration of my career. When I started, cork was sold in just thin cork panels, so maybe 4 millimeters or so. It's just a cork panel out of a box. They were pre-finished with a polyurethane wear layer, and then they were glued down to the subfloor. Sound like a great idea, but no matter what we tried, to be honest, we could never guarantee or never get always a perfect result, where some of those corners, when it start to peak up a little bit. And probably most people with a cork or an old cork floor will know what I'm talking about. So the industry transitioned almost exclusively to click together floors when that technology became available. Has a number of different advantages, but one of them being that just it keeps all of the joints, all of the seams really nice and tight, everything flat, provided it's well made, of course. There was a time when some really poor quality cork floors came on the market. I think we played around with one order once and saw how horrible it was and sent it back. So we really deal with only just one cork supplier now, which is Torlys.
Okay.
That's these folks here.
Yep.
And so we have now basically a modern day sandwich, like so many floors are.
Okay.
This is a click together locking floor. Let me know if you can see the.
I can see it.
The profile.
Put it up just a titch. We'll get a little more. Perfect. Yep, that's good.
So this is a click together panel. If you look in here, you might be able to see the joint, the locking system. It's a patented Unilin lock system, which is very well made, keeps everything very tight. But we have basically a 3-layer system, and all of it is, it's really all organic, and it's all biodegradable at the end of its life.
Oh.
So the bottom layer is actually a cork layer, and that is just built in as an underlay, or so all click together floating floors, as you know, need an underlay of some kind. In this case, it's a cork floor. Why not put a cork underlay? So that comes pre-attached to the product. So that's great. We have cork layer number 1. The primary or the core material of the product, this is made out of high density fiberboard, or HDF. So this is a post-industrial recycled product. It's basically wood dust from sawmills and any other source of wood manufacturing. You end up with dust, right? You have to do something with that dust. Let's make some floors out of it. So if you take that dust and you compress it with certain binders, and you compress it under exceptionally high strength, you get a very, very strong product, which is that high density fiberboard core. Again, you can make that very, very well, or you can make it really poorly. And most people have some experience with seeing laminate floors, which have a very similar core made very poorly, where that core material failed, or it's swelled up with water or moisture. Most people have seen that. That's really just indicative of doing it wrong. It's not that there's something inherently wrong in the system or in the type. It's just doing it poorly and cheaply, and well, you get a bad result, right?
Right.
And then the top layer, this is where all the action and the money is. This is the actual decorative layer of the cork. So in this case, I just chose a natural burled cork, pretty typical, been around for a long time. So you can get this stained in different colors. You can get it in different patterns. I even mentioned last week that there's a new product where they will digitally print a hardwood image on top of the cork, in which case it doesn't look like this at all anymore. I should have brought a sample of that, but I didn't. We could follow up with that next week.
You know what? You got to go in and
to.
see Kevin. You got to go have an in-person show and tell for that one, Kevin.
Yeah. So a really cool product that's called Corkwood by Torlys, and it's corked to look like wood, and it's called Corkwood. So this is a traditional cork, nice burls, beautiful color. Again, it's about 4 millimeters thicker. So, and then the final layer is the shiny. Well, it's not quite shiny, but it's reflecting in the image there. This is the polyurethane clear coat wear layer. So this is the protective layer that protects the cork, so you don't actually walk on it. You're mentioning with your wallet, it gets dirty. That's what the polyurethane is for, protects it, seals it, and for the lifetime of the floor, it's protected, and you don't need to do anything other than keep it clean. So that's a typical 3-layer click together cork floor.
So now, where does this work well in a home? So where do you suggest to people in a home?
So cork was almost exclusively put into kitchens, and Yeah, and the reason why, I mean, one, it's waterproof. I mean, it's cork, right?
Right.
It stops up wine bottles and all sorts of things. So, but number two is it's legendary comfort level. So people
Mm.
spend a lot of time in the kitchens or standing in front of their stoves or doing dishes or just standing around entertaining friends. Anybody that had any sort of back issues or feet issues or anything like that, they got a cork floor, and that's where I say they absolutely loved it. And then oftentimes it extended into other parts of the home. So that was back when I started 20 plus years ago. Now we see it all throughout the home.
Okay.
As they made it into this click together system, as they made the plank sizes more in line with what you would see with a hardwood floor, and especially as they made it look like hardwood, now it's really broadened the scope. You know, you can put it anywhere that you're looking for warmth, comfort, and sustainability in your floor.
So it
So
must
that
be
could,
very forgiving as well. That when I think about a kitchen, I went to culinary school and things drop on the floor, and you drop your knife when you're cutting it. Sometimes to be able to, like, it would pierce the cork, but then when you pull it out, it self heals itself, kind of thing.
yeah, cork has an awesome ability to rebound.
Mm.
And to self-heal, like you said. You know, I have a practical example. In a previous showroom I worked at, we had about 10 different hardwood panels on the ground of different types of wood. And I don't like that look now, and we don't do that anymore here. But it helped test different floors, right? And one of those panels was cork, and it far and away outperformed all of the other floors that were down. You know, I'd bring my large dog to work, and he would run around on it, and it just has such a memory and such a rebound effect to it that it really is, you know, a heightened durability, I would say. Now, it can be pierced, like you said. If you drop a knife point down, yeah, it's going to impact in it. But there's all sorts of ways now to repair those, so that with a very quick bit of work, it would be repaired and you wouldn't even be able to see it anymore. But its resistance to scratching and its resistance, especially to denting,
Mm.
is quite something to see.
So let's wrap this up with, we've talked about underlay before, and there is cork underlay. What about this particular product for acoustical? How is it for the ambient noise in a home?
It's exceptionally quiet. So we see that cork in itself is, you say we're installing a hardwood floor. I'm sure you did these where you did a double glue down install. Quite often that's being installed over a cork underlay. So it's not decorative. It's not meant to look pretty. It's just purely functional, because cork is so well known for its acoustic mitigating properties. And again, that's just those millions of little air pockets that are microscopic air pockets within the cork. So if you have a product like this, where the decorative layer is cork and also the bottom side is cork. So now we have 2 layers of cork. You're basically taking what can be a sound absorbing underlay and actually making it the product, right? So that's a fantastic start. And, you know, if you have a rental suite below you, which many people do, or just any other way you want to minimize noise, you know, transferring between floors or even in the room, cork is a great product. And it kind of fills that weird niche in between soft surface flooring, which is carpet, and hard surface flooring, which is everything else. It is hard surface flooring technically, but it has certain properties that make it very unique, and it's one of the reasons why we love it.
Great information today. So thank you so much, Kevin, for our first episode of Green Products 101 involving cork flooring. Next week, tune in at 2 o'clock. We're going to be talking about marmoleum. And
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to that topic, because when I look at that product, it looks like it is not a green product. So I'm looking forward to the education next week, Kevin.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's one of our favorite products to work with, so I'm happy to. And there's more misinformation or mystery surrounding it than factual information out there. So hopefully some others can learn something too next week.
Perfect. See you next week, Wednesday at 2 p.m.
Bye-bye.
Pacific Standard Time. Bye-bye, everybody.